Apple's Siri has been the punchline of the internet for nearly a decade, and honestly, the jokes were earned. Every comedian, every tech journalist, every frustrated iPhone user has taken their shot at a voice assistant that seemed stuck in 2012. But at WWDC 2026, Apple is finally making its boldest move yet to fix that problem. They've completely rewritten Siri with modern AI technology that might actually make it competitive with ChatGPT, Google Assistant, and the other advanced AI tools that have stolen Siri's market share. This isn't just a minor update or a few tweaks. It's a ground-up transformation of everything from how Siri understands your questions to how it actually answers them. Here's what makes this moment so significant. Apple has known Siri was falling behind for years. They've watched competitors lap them again and again. They've seen users switch to ChatGPT or Google Assistant instead. They've read thousands of jokes about their voice assistant, but they've been quiet, building something they thought could actually compete. Now, after years of silence, Apple is ready to show what a modern Siri can do. And here's the twist that's got the tech world talking. Apple didn't just improve Siri with some internal engineering. They've made strategic partnerships and integrated cutting-edge AI technology that changes everything about how the assistant works and thinks. This is where the real story gets interesting. To understand why this moment matters so much, you need to know Siri's history. When Apple first introduced it in 2011 with the iPhone 4, it was absolutely revolutionary. You could actually talk to your phone and it would do things. It understood you. That felt genuinely futuristic. For a solid 5 years, Siri was basically the gold standard. Google had voice search, but nothing like Siri's actual assistant capabilities. Amazon's Alexa didn't even exist yet. It felt like Apple had cracked something special about talking to your device in a natural way. Then things shifted. By 2016 and 2017, people started noticing that Siri wasn't keeping pace. Google Assistant arrived, and it was smarter. Alexa got new capabilities every year, but Siri felt frozen in time. You could ask it basic commands, sure, but anything more complex, anything requiring real understanding, it would fail. Ask Siri a question that needed follow-up context, and it wouldn't get it. Years kept passing. AI improved massively across the industry. ChatGPT showed up in 2022 and changed what people expected from artificial intelligence. Suddenly, Siri looked ancient. Apple kept tweaking it, adding features here and there, but the fundamental technology underneath was getting older while the world moved forward. That gap kept widening. This is the problem Apple finally decided to tackle head-on. So what exactly did Apple do to fix Siri? The core change is that they rebuilt the entire AI engine powering the assistant. Under the hood, they've integrated advanced language models that understand context the way modern AI systems do. Think of it like this: old Siri was like someone who could understand individual words, but couldn't quite grasp what you really meant. New Siri is like talking to someone who actually gets the conversation happening around those words. The technical breakthrough here is that the new system can maintain context across multiple questions. Ask it something, then ask a follow-up question, and it remembers what you were just talking about. That sounds simple, but it's actually one of the biggest things that separated Siri from competitors. Another major change is how the system processes your request. Instead of trying to match your words to a pre-programmed response, it actually reasons about what you're asking and constructs an answer. That's why modern AI systems feel so much smarter. They're not looking up answers in a database, they're actively thinking through your question. Apple also improved how Siri handles nuanced requests. You can ask it complex things that require it to pull information from multiple sources, understand what you actually need, and deliver something useful. It's not perfect, nothing is, but it's a genuine leap forward. And here's the kicker: Apple's done this while keeping everything processing on your device. Privacy stays in place. Your conversations aren't sent to distant servers to be analyzed and logged. Let me give you some concrete examples of what the new Siri can actually do. Say you're planning a trip and you ask Siri, "What's the weather like in Sydney next week?" Siri tells you. Then you follow up with, "Should I pack an umbrella?" Old Siri would have gotten confused. It wouldn't remember you were talking about Sydney. New Siri understands the context instantly. Or imagine you're working on something and you say, create a reminder for me to call my mum tomorrow at noon. Then 5 minutes later you're like, actually, make that 3 p.m. instead. Instead of creating a second reminder, the new Siri deletes the old one and creates the new one. It gets that you meant to change the existing reminder, not add another. You can also do things like ask Siri to summarize a web page you're reading, or help you draft an email, or explain a technical concept you just read about. The assistant can now engage in actual conversations rather than just executing single commands. Want to brainstorm ideas? The new Siri can do that. Need help breaking down a complex problem? It'll work through it with you. There's also cross-app intelligence now. You might be in Apple Maps and ask Siri about a restaurant, and it can pull information not just from the Maps app, but from reviews, your calendar preferences, all in one coherent answer. This transforms Siri from a command line tool into something that actually feels like it's thinking alongside you. And there's the part most people overlook entirely: speed. So we've got a new Siri, but how does it actually compare to ChatGPT and Google Assistant? Let's be honest here. ChatGPT is still more capable in raw intelligence. If you ask it to write a short story or solve a complex math problem or explain quantum physics, ChatGPT is going to outperform the new Siri. That's just the reality. But here's the thing that matters: Siri doesn't need to be as capable as ChatGPT at everything. Siri's job is to be your device's assistant. It needs to understand your device, your calendar, your messages, your location, your preferences. Google Assistant has always been better at this than Siri because Google integrates so much data. But the new Siri is closing that gap significantly. When it comes to integrating with your actual life, your calendar, your reminders, your contacts, your personal data, Siri now has real advantages over standalone AI models because it has native access to all of it. Speed is another area where Siri wins. Processing everything locally on your device means responses are faster. You don't have network latency. You don't have server delays. That matters more than people think. For everyday use cases, asking for the weather, setting reminders, finding a contact, controlling smart home devices, new Siri is now genuinely competitive. It's not necessarily better than every competitor in every way, but it's finally in the conversation instead of being the assistant everyone quietly abandons. And here's the thing that matters most. Apple users already have Siri built in. It's there on every iPhone, every Mac, every iPad. Competitors require downloading a separate app. Why does Apple care so much about fixing Siri right now? The answer is that AI is becoming the central way people interact with computers. Companies that nail voice and conversational AI have a huge advantage. Think about it. If Siri is bad, people stop using it. They switch to asking ChatGPT instead. Every question they ask ChatGPT is a moment they're not using Apple products. They're not getting Apple-exclusive features. They're not getting the benefits of Apple's ecosystem integration. A better Siri means people stay within the Apple world more. They use their iPhone more naturally. They don't feel frustrated every time they try to do something voice-activated. That's not just about product satisfaction, it's about lock-in. If everything you own talks to each other and works together seamlessly, you're less likely to leave the ecosystem. There's also a revenue angle here. AI is becoming a major selling point. Apple is in a market where phones are increasingly commoditized. Everyone's phone is pretty good. The differentiator is software and services. A significantly better Siri is one more reason to buy an iPhone instead of an Android phone. It's one more way Apple justifies premium pricing. Beyond that, this upgrade puts Apple back in the game for AI relevance. For the last few years, Apple has been mostly quiet on AI, while companies like OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic get all the headlines. Now Apple can say they've got world-class AI technology too. It's good for their brand. It's good for developer confidence. But here's what actually changes everything for Apple's strategy going forward. If you've got an Apple device, here's what you need to know about using the new Siri. First, it's rolling out gradually through iOS and macOS updates, so you might not have it right now, but it's coming. When it arrives, you access it the same way you always have. Hold down the home button, or on newer devices say, "Hey Siri," to wake it up. The interface itself hasn't changed dramatically. You talk and Siri listens just like before. But the difference is in how it responds. You'll notice it understanding more complex questions. You'll notice better context recognition. You'll notice it asking clarifying questions when it needs more information instead of just failing. One thing to be aware of, the new system learns your preferences over time. The more you use it, the better it understands how you like to communicate. So don't judge it too harshly on your first few conversations. Give it a few weeks. To get the most out of it, be more conversational. You can use the kind of language you'd use talking to a person. You don't need to speak in commands. Say things like, "Can you remind me to pick up groceries when I'm near the shops?" instead of just set reminder grocery shopping. The new Siri actually handles the conversational version better. You can also ask follow-up questions without saying "Hey Siri" each time. Just keep talking. For privacy-conscious users, remember that most of this processing happens on your device. Your data stays yours. It's not being sent off to Apple servers to be mined or analyzed. That's one of Apple's big selling points with this update. And one last tip, don't be afraid to go back to ChatGPT or Google for things that require deeper analysis. This new Siri isn't trying to replace those tools. So what's the real takeaway here? Apple has finally done what it needed to do. It took Siri seriously and rebuilt it with modern AI technology. That matters for everyone, even if you don't use Apple devices. When one of the biggest tech companies decides to really invest in AI assistants, it raises the bar for everyone. It pushes the entire industry forward. For Apple users specifically, this is going to change how you interact with your devices. You're going to rely on Siri more because it's actually useful now instead of just frustrating. You'll probably be surprised at some of the things it can do. For the broader tech industry, this signals that the AI wars are no longer about who has the biggest public model or the most impressive ChatGPT competitor. They're about who can integrate AI into the actual devices people use every day. That's the real battle. Google has been trying to do this with Assistant for years. Amazon's got Alexa in every home. Microsoft's trying it with Copilot. Now Apple is seriously in the game. What you should watch for from here: how well does the new Siri actually perform in real-world use? Will it finally make people stop abandoning it halfway through a conversation? Will it be good enough that Apple users never need to open ChatGPT? Will it give Apple a real advantage in the next generation of iPhones? Those are the questions that matter. The new Siri is here. It's actually pretty good. The only question left is whether people will give it a real chance, or if the years of bad experiences have already permanently damaged the brand. Follow along as Apple tries to rebuild trust in a voice assistant that users had written off completely.